Hello, poetry lovers. The video tonight shows the creation of a new piece entitled Rebuilding that's part of my series on infertility called Barren Woman. Stick around to the end of the video to hear the complete first draft. This poem was conceived through a convergence of inspiration. We were in the thick of infertility treatment, starting a third and final round of IVF after another pregnancy loss, and I was doing a lot of internal processing around those events and the related emotions. I was driving back from an evening Bible study and prayer meeting, and I saw a red autumn moon rising out of a bank of soot-black clouds. It was an incredibly striking image, so striking that it seemed to overcome all my senses, and I hurried home to write this poem. Images like this of the natural world have proven stunningly fruitful for me as a poet, and this is not unusual. Poets from my fave Gerard Manley Hopkins to the romantic greats like William Wordsworth to American icons like Robert Frost and Emily Dickinson, and even to contemporary greats like Seamus Heaney, Louise Gluck, and Mary Oliver, all draw heavily on imagery of the natural world to inspire their poems. I dream of one day writing a book like Louise Gluck's The Wild Iris, in which image and theme are married so perfectly that at the end of reading, I feel as though the world around me is just bursting with meaning. I think that for many poets, the natural world provides a lot of this kind of inspiration, so I started writing with a sense of excitement and urgency. But before long, I started floundering. I quickly got through the setup of the narrative and the concrete details that had inspired the poem, and then I knew I needed to get into the heart of what I wanted to convey with this piece, and that was the problem. I sat down to write so excited about the image I wanted to capture that I honestly wasn't sure where I was going with it. I had nothing more than the impression that the visual I had seen was powerful, and I had no clue what the point was. I can't say for sure, but my guess is that this is common for poets. There's so much that's been written and said about writing poetry that claims you must write for hours daily, or at least weekly, to write anything worthwhile. I think that idea may be rooted in situations like this, where there's an image or idea that brings inspiration, but it takes time to figure out how to unpack it. If you're like me, though, you don't have that kind of time. By the time of writing this poem, I was so tired. It was about 10:30 at night at this point, and I'd been parenting and teaching all day. Plus, I was emotionally exhausted from grief and suspense, and I was very, very hormonal from a daily cocktail of powerful fertility meds. I needed to finish up writing and get some rest. But in my daily life, there's never a guarantee that I'll have margin to keep working on a project if I pause it once I begin. Maybe your situation is similar. So here's what I did. First, I recommitted to the metaphor I'd started and doubled down on it. I wrote a line that tied back to the idea of destruction by fire. I had a long pause then as I thought about how to proceed next, and I decided to fall back on an allusion that anyone would know. Anyone, that is, except me, apparently, since I couldn't remember the name of the thing I had decided to reference. So then I did this.
Hey, Anthony. What's the name of the Roman town that was destroyed by a volcano? Thank you.
Vesuvius, hold on. Pompeii.
Thank you.
After my husband helped me out and gave me the name I couldn't remember, I picked up my thesaurus again and flipped to a few different terms, looking for any more guidance or inspiration. And finally, with help from these three sources, my prior writing, my spouse, and my reference book, I landed on an ending. I'm honestly not sure that I love this ending. I'm not sure that the allusion I stumbled onto does everything I need and want at the end of this poem. But I had 20 minutes worth of energy at the end of a very hard day to write, and I'm proud I pushed through and finished. So here it is, the first draft of Rebuilding, written in 19 minutes on October 12th, 2022. Rebuilding. After our last pregnancy erupted in blood, after my crust cracked, forced magma from my molten core out to burn my fertile ground, I'm driving home. Heading back from prayer meeting, heading toward a moon like the last cooling pool of lava in an igneous sky. Tonight, I prayed for insight, for peace after 6 weeks of grief, for drugs to strip mine my body successfully one last time. Prayed for money to burn, for a word of certainty, for a will of steel too strong to melt. Did I pray for a baby? Don't ask. Only a fool breaks ground on Vesuvius. Only a fool rebuilds Pompeii. Thanks for watching this episode of Ars Poeticat. If you enjoyed watching poetry happen, please like and subscribe. Then go make some art.